Hi, Erica Robinson here, twice in one weekend. That's unusual. Welcome to In the Company of Cards. And before I start looking at cards, I just want to thank you all for the really kind messages that you sent me about yesterday's anniversary. And thank you for sharing some of your stories with me. Life's fun, isn't it? Um, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. So, uh, here we are 23 days out from this race. And the tensions are high. And just, objectively speaking, it is a fact that the polls show a neck and neck race between 45 and Harris. Now, it's not just the national polls which tell us this, and really, the national polls are not what you need to pay attention to. It's the state polls that are also telling us this. Harris had um, that big jump, and then she's now had a kind of a falling off by maybe like 5 or 6 points, percentage points. So, um, I think the first question I want to look at is, why is the race neck and neck? Okay, why is the race neck and neck? So I've shuffled, um, and I think I'm going to use the scales card. That's the extra card that I put in the deck. And we have coins on one side, we have daisies on the other. The scale, though, is evenly weighted. Coins will be him, that daisies will be Harris, but I just want to know, why is that scale as balanced as it is? 48% to 48%. What's that about? So I'm gonna hammer down and then cut. And again, we're looking for the scales. We want to know, why is this race neck and neck? Oh, popped right up, right? So that goes there. The two cards that come before it go here. And then we have, okay. So we have the cross, the book, there's my scales card, the anchor, and the birds. Okay, I'm going to draw some clarifiers, and then I will talk about what I think this means. Um, I am just going to draw one clarifier for each card. So again, originally the cards were the cross, the book, the scales, the anchor, and the birds. Okay. So cross, this is an angsty, difficult time for everybody. This is a card of pain. And it's followed by the book, because depending on which way this race goes, the country itself will go one way or another. So this is the card for not knowing. Part of our angst and pain in this moment on both sides is that we don't know which way things are going to go. Okay. Now, the scales is for the race being evenly matched, and why? Well, I think people are getting bogged down with the stuff that they're hearing. Sometimes, remember, an anchor can keep us safe. Sometimes an anchor can keep us stuck. And there is just so much out there. There's so much disinformation um, being being put out there by mainstream media, and certainly by 45's camp. This is causing people pain, right? And also causing people to be stuck because they just don't know what to do. Now, let me say about something about human nature. Human nature is such that we tend to gravitate towards what is familiar as opposed to what is good for us. We know 45 was not good for us, but it was familiar. And I think a lot of people are saying, we don't know what she's about, and we've never had a woman president, and we've never had a woman, Black South Asian president. And, so maybe it's better to stay stuck and go with what we know instead of going with what we don't know. I think that's some of what it is. And I think it's because of so much disinformation that's out there in the mainstream media, I might add. Okay, so I drew clarifiers for each of these. So this is this pain card. Like, my God, can we just move on from this? Can the 23 days hurry up and come and go? And we have a decision, and it will not happen probably on that 23rd day. I've said this before. I don't think we will know who won. I don't think it will be declared who won that night, nor on the morning of the 6th on Wednesday morning. I don't think so. I think that there will be certification issues in various states. I think Georgia will be a problem. And so things will have to go to the courts, I suspect. Again, I still see her winning, but just don't expect it to happen Tuesday night. So what's the clarifier for this cross? The lily. People just want peace. Even if it's the peace of what they already know, and what they already know is that 45 creates chaos. But at least it's chaos we're familiar with. That's what some people are telling themselves. Just peace at any cost. Okay, I drew a clarifier for the book. And this is so good. The book is clarified by the House. And I've said this many times in my reading. What is it that we don't know? Who it is that we want to be. This stands for the body politic. This stands for the American people. We don't know which thing we want to be. The devil or the deep blue sea. We don't know. Who is it? Who is America? You've got one candidate that appeals to our basest instincts. You've got another candidate who does the opposite. Do we listen to the devil on our shoulder or the angel? Which one? Now, scales. This is the election outcome right now. It's 48-48. It's tied. Now, the clarifier is not that helpful. It's the bouquet, because of course, winner takes all, and we don't know who that winner will be with that 48-48 split, even though I am saying it will be Harris. This anchor, remember, can keep us safe or keep us stuck. Part of why the election is as close as it is, part of why 45 is polling as well as he does, is exactly what I have been saying since I opened up this video. People go with what's familiar. They know this song, they know this story. So, they think, well, how bad could more of the same be? Pretty bad, let me just say. And it's because of this disinformation. And I know it's disinformation because it's problematic. Remember, this is buzz, chatter, publicity, news. And this is the snake. The snake is, it infiltrates, right? So we're hearing all of this stuff that is not true. So for example, where the hurricane relief money is going, right? There's a lot of disinformation being spread by 45, and people don't know any better, so they listen. I can mirror the first card in our original line. It was the cross. It's this card of pain, and I can mirror it with the snake. Not good. Pain, trouble. Pain, trouble. And with the 48-48 split, we can see why. Now, I also always tell you that energy is mutable. This can be changed. If you don't like this, change it. Um, I want to say a word about Anne Lamott. She's a writer, American writer. If you don't know her work, you should. She wrote a great book on writing, on how to write, called Bird by Bird. But she's terrific, and uh, she wrote an article. You can find it on Facebook under her name, Anne Lamott, and she usually can be very encouraging and uplifting in the things that she says for these troubled times. And what I noted is that in this most recent piece, I just read it this morning, she seemed to have had to plumb the depths of her soul to find something uplifting and positive and hopeful to say. And I bring that up, and then she did in the end, she did her, the message was beautiful in the end, but you could tell she really struggled to find it. They say that the beast that you feed is the one that grows. And the temptation is to say, oh my God, 48 to 48, we're going to lose. There's no way we can win. Here we go again. Let me gird my loins for, another 4 years of 45 and Project 2025 and whatever's coming. That is feeding the beast that we don't want to grow. Why are you feeding it? Energy can be transmuted. And I know that sounds like a woo-woo way of me saying, so if everything I've said is wrong, you guys didn't transmute the energy right. I mean, that's not what I'm saying here. That's not what I'm saying at all. I am saying that I give you a snapshot of events as they are in the moment to show you a trajectory. If you don't like the trajectory, the worst thing in the world is to stay stuck on it and worry about it and be angsty about it, right? You want to feed the wolf that you want to grow, which is the opposite of, 45. So I want to pull a few cards, and this is going to be a short, video. I've gotten the message that people prefer shorter ones, and that's fine with me. I'll just do more of them and they'll be shorter. Same thing. What can Harris do to widen the gap between her and 45? What can Harris do? And so what we'll do is we'll use the older woman card, and that will stand for Harris. What can she do to widen the gap? Okay. If you've not done it before, please do like, share, subscribe. I'm delighted that there are so many of you here new. I hope you'll go back and look at my old videos. Please feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to look at whatever you'd like me to look at with my cards. Obviously, it'll be election based between now and the next 23 days, but I certainly can look at other issues as well. Wow. Okay, we have the cross, the coffin, there's Harris, we have the young woman, and we have the snake. I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers, not on everything, but I'm going to pull uh, on Harris, and I'm going to pull on the young woman, and I'm going to pull on the snake. Okay, this is tough. So we have the cross, coffin, Harris, young women, and snake. So the cross is that first card we saw in the last reading, right? This is painful. It's just like, wait, what? How is it 48, 48? What happened to 3 months ago and all of that excitement and enthusiasm? I mean, it's still there. It's just that other things have had time to sort of bubble up to the surface. And what she's got to do is call a halt to that, end it, transmute it, right? Transform it into something else. So that's Harris's task. Now, we know that young women and people who care about young women are pivotal in this race. And it's very important that they not get discouraged. And I want to say a word about the snake. Um, this is my deck, Erica's Lenormand of Hope, and it's a snake, and snake is usually a problem. But I have my snake slithering through mugwort. Mugwort is a female plant used in divination and in healing. It's a feminine plant. And so this is also the card for clever women. Women will need to turn out in droves. That's what's going to have to happen because we know that there is a gender gap, first of all. We know that men are going with 45, a lot of them, and women are going for Harris. So women need to come out in force. Okay. Now, I pulled clarifiers. I pulled clarifiers for Harris. We've got bear, we've got fish, and we've got the scythe. Okay. So the bear, there's all those mamala jokes and, does the country need a mommy, etc. But a bear is ferocious. So she needs to keep coming at 45 with both barrels, with guns blazing, to use an unfortunate analogy. She really needs to be aggressive and assertive, and appeal to people's emotions over what would be lost if he were to win. This is a card for emotion. And I think that will help her gather in the undecided and the dispossessed, the people who are saying to themselves, no matter how I vote, it doesn't matter. No, she needs to gather those in the way that a mother bear would gather in her cubs. Yes, this is a sharp blade, but it's also a curved blade, which means that not only does it cut, it also gathers in. So people need to be gathered in. I pulled cards on the young woman, and we have the garden, the fox, and the sun. And again, I do think that the community of women will be coming out in force. I don't think women are the issue. I think it's a gender gap, and then there's a race component here, which I'll talk about maybe in a second if I have time. And then we have the snake, and the clarifiers are the rider, the mountain, and the whip. And again, I think this is about not getting stuck. Messages don't get stuck on, oh my God, this is a problem. We might as well give it up now. Let's see, can I emigrate to, I don't know, Mexico or Portugal or someplace, Canada? That's not the message. That has to be blocked. And instead, what needs to happen is discipline. Campaign needs to be disciplined in their message, disciplined in their aggressive stance towards 45. So, they say that, and I talked about this, I guess, the other day about that Black men are a voting bloc that is problematic for her. One of my viewers made a really salient point. She made it really eloquently, and so I'm going to try to restate it in my own words. I think it was really poignant and pointed and perfect, which is that, I mentioned that sometimes people identify with their abusers. Some people identify with, slaves identified with the master. What's the matter, massa? We sick? We sick. And for young Black men, I feel like there's this epigenetic, which means, sort of collective ancient memory of the fact that Black men could not protect Black women from slavery's ravages, right? So I don't know, but what there's some psychological thing going on where, you know, we would rather identify as Black men with this white guy with the gold sneakers and the coins and stuff. Um, because what if we were to support a Black woman who looks like our mother, our sister, our daughter? And what if they come for her? Because, of course, people will come for her as president, right? And we can't defend her again. It's sort of this, it feels like this epigenetic trauma that prevents these young men from seeing that she is our best hope. And 45 is nothing but a slave master dressed up in a suit with a too long red tie and a diaper, just saying. So what can we do in these next 23 days? What can we do in these next 23 days? And I think I'll use for us um, the garden, all of us collectively. What can we do um, to turn the energy the way that we want to turn it, to keep ourselves uplifted and encouraged and hopeful? So we're going to look for the garden, and then this will be it. Deep in the deck, which doesn't mean anything. It's just that I have to flip a lot of cards. There it is. Okay, here's our garden. This is all of us. Okay. And I'm putting the two cards to the right and then the next two to the left. Okay. The message is clear. It doesn't need clarifiers. We've got the letter, the stork, the garden, the anchor, the moon. And so that you can see them again, the letter, the stork, there's us, the anchor, and the moon. Okay. So the first thing we can do is vote. Help people get to the polls, help people with their ballots. If you know older people or first-time voters and who need to be walked through what's on the ballot in your state, vote blue all the way down. Vote, 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 and do what you can to get the vote out, whether that's knocking on doors, whether that's writing postcards, whether it's making phone calls. Do all you can do to get the vote out. That will change the energy because we have the stork, and the stork is positive change. You're feeding the wolf that you want to grow. Okay. Remember, in the center, we have the garden. This anchor here is about staying the course, not letting this be the anchor of stuckness, but letting this be the anchor of just consistency and staying the course with an eye on the prize. And the prize is the moon is the card for identity. The prize will be our becoming a more perfect union with our listening to the better angels, with our not letting ourselves get discouraged by what is not good to the point where we don't do what is good, staying the course. Okay. When we vote, we are saying, we're telling the world who it is that we want to be. Do we want to be that country or do we want to be this country? Whom do we want to be? The stork mirrors the anchor, and that's how I know we're talking about staying the course, staying secure in our conviction that this win will happen for us, that we can will this win into existence, because I think we can. But you can't just give something a lick and a promise and then say, so it should happen. It's about joining will with work. What are you doing, right, to affect this positive change? Stay the course, with an eye towards this perfect union that we really want to become. All right, that was short, maybe not so sweet, but I will be back next week. Please leave your questions, and if you'd like me to look at specific races, I can do that. But have a great rest of your Sunday.